goes for the rebounds and goes up for the second chance point.
Wants three, give her three.
Inbound, Leonidas, this one will count. Good evening, basketball fans, and welcome to Boise, Idaho. The 5-11 Broncos playing host to the 6-7 Cowgirls of Wyoming. A matchup between the only two teams who have won the Mountain West tournament in this decade. The Broncos, the 2020 champs, capping off 4 straight years of victories before Wyoming took the crown off them a year ago. Here inside ExtraMile Arena, Leonard Berry, Heather Berry, the Berry duo back together here on the Mountain West Network. And Heather, for Boise State, a tough week on the road, losses at UNLV, at San Diego State, but hoping that returning back to Boise will help them get going in the right direction. And a player who's really held her own for the Broncos recently is Abby Muse, trying to put that right foot forward.
Abby has really turned it on lately. Right now she's got 10 points, 7 rebounds averaging, and she's doing it all for the Broncos on both ends of the floor.
Muse, the second leading scorer for the Broncos and the team's leading rebounder at the moment. And the Broncos' leading scorer, Dominique Leonidas. For Boise State, it seems to be that when she is going offensively, the victories start piling up, and they're hoping to get her very involved in this contest.
It is. She is that leader for this team, and she's doing it on the offensive end and the defensive end, as you see here, hitting those buckets. She is coming in, and she has turned it on for this Bronco team, and it's what Gordy Presnell looked for her this season.
Leonidas, the team leader in points, 11.2 points per game. She'll try to make an impact for the Broncos when we come back. First matchup between Boise State and Wyoming this season. It's the first of the week. The two teams will meet in 7 days back in Laramie. Here in Boise tonight on a Wednesday, next Wednesday in Laramie, and the tip won by the Cowgirls. They'll get us started here tonight. This game being scheduled on the schedule originally. The game next Wednesday is being made up from a postponement. Boise State was supposed to be in Laramie on January 3rd, and the first bucket of the night comes courtesy of the freshman center, Allison Fertig. Turnover against the Broncos. Narrow and Muse not on the same page. And Tommy Olson the other way for Wyoming. Boise State, luckily enough, didn't go to Laramie before that game was canceled, but still, to have it postponed and find a way to fit it in the schedule, that's been one of the things this season, Heather, that teams have had to deal with.
That is, not only on the women's side, but the men's side, all around the nation, just going on with what's happening around the nation or world now. It's, you know, obviously rescheduling games is what's happened lately.
These two teams will get real familiar with each other. Narrow picks up the dribble. Boise State 12-2 all-time against Wyoming at home in Boise. And currently on a 4-game home winning streak. Dominique Leonidas trying to get her first points of the night. And Elodie Lalott will get fouled underneath the basket for the Broncos.
Dominique drove to the basket right there. Didn't have a great look at the basket. Elodie did get that, what we would call maybe a no board. Not exactly sure how they would come up with that on the scoreboard, but that second hustle allows the Broncos to get another shot at the basket here.
It'll be Lalott who puts the ball on the floor, goes up a little bit too strong, and last touched by Wyoming. Boise State gets to keep it.
Broncos will run a baseline out of bounds play here.
I got a good look for Lalott on that last one. Now they'll try to do the same for Abby Muse. Muscles in, puts the shot up. Tough going for Boise State down low. A bunch of missed shots on this possession, and it's Fertig who finally has it for the Cowgirls. Boise State with a couple of 0-footers, but just couldn't find the finish through the tough teeth of the defense.
It's going to be a game of post play with both ends having teams that have some height, as the Cowgirls have number 45 with 6'4" on the roster.
Yeah, Allison Fertig, who just got called for an offensive foul right there, as she bowled over Elodie Lalott with an errant shoulder and elbow. She's just a freshman at 6'4" from Glendo, Wyoming. Definitely one to watch, as Boise State has the very traditional two bigs. Elodie Lalott getting the score tied up for the Broncos.
Nice assist right there by Abby Muse, seeing her post player posted up down there for the bucket.
Wyoming back with the basketball. McKinley Bradshaw getting herself to the free throw line before Narrow stops her. Tommy Olson on the drive now for the Cowgirls. And Anna Osley with some very solid defense. A lot of returners for this Wyoming team from a year ago. Leonidas pokes it out of bounds, but it'll stay with Wyoming. Bradshaw, number 12. Quinn Weideman, number 14, the senior. Tommy Olson, number 24, the senior. Some of the big-time players that were involved in Wyoming's run to the Mountain West Tournament Championship. This will be a shot clock violation. Fertig did not hit the rim. Strong defense from Boise State here early as you see the Bronco bench and their head coach, Gordy Presnell.
Yeah, that was an ISO play down there on the baseline out of bounds where they were trying to get the ball right in the middle with nobody around, and they just weren't able to connect.
Boise State, who's been so proficient scoring inside the paint this season, might find it tough against Fertig when she is in the game. But you also have to worry about Wyoming's Mountain West leading defense on the outside as well. Fertig fumbles the entry pass, and it goes out of bounds. It's a turnover, and Bronco basketball.
Both teams are looking to get the ball in the hole. Lots of plays happening, just not able to connect on both ends.
To go back to that Wyoming defense, 58.8 points per game. That is first in the Mountain West in terms of scoring defense. That is what opponents are averaging against the Cowgirls so far this season. The defense was the huge reason why they were tournament champions. Muse pops it up into the air, but can't get it off back iron. Muse out to Leonidas. This is a three ball, rattles in and out. Osley, though, goes in. The 5'8" guard cleans up the miss and puts Boise State ahead for the first time.
That's what we call crashing the boards. That's a great run right there by Osley to the basket. You never know what's going to happen when a three ball is shot because of those long rebounds.
Osley gets the Broncos ahead. And Weideman forced to pick up the dribble. Another dump over the top. Fertig is fronting these posts, and Boise State's going to have to find a solution.
One of the keys to the game today for the Broncos is to be consistent on defense, and as we just saw from the Cowgirls, they are trying that isolation plays to try to get no defenders in the paint, which then leads to the easy basket.
Narrow created acres of space on that three ball, just couldn't find the range. Neither can Weideman here. Cowgirls keep it with Alba Sanchez Ramos, their leading rebounder. 6.9 rebounds per game. Weideman fouled on the backside by Abby Muse. This will lead to two shots.
Yeah, those long O-boards, as we were just talking about, leads to second chance points, and the Cowgirls have been able to get that on this play.
The senior Quinn Weideman goes to the line. Another look at the Muse foul.
Yeah, Abby being a little taller than her, hit her from behind. The referee is always going to call that a foul.
Abby Muse always going for the blocks. 1.3 per game, fourth in the Mountain West. And Weideman converts. Weideman, the second leading scorer so far this season for Wyoming. And one of the deadliest three-point shooters in Cowgirl program history. As she misses the second free throw, so a 1-point lead for Wyoming as the Broncos bring the ball down. Nice back cut from Anna Osley, leads to a Trista Hull mid-range jumper. Once again, too long for the Broncos. And one thing for Boise State that has really spooked them in their 11 losses has been being unable to make open shots.
Yeah, the Broncos have struggled when they don't connect from the floor, and that in turn has led to many losses for the Broncos.
Rachel Bowers finds the front of the rim and 2 points. Mid-range spot from nearly the same area of the court that Hull just missed from.
Yeah, the Bronco posts are definitely looking to shoot from the outside, which then pulls the defense up out of the basket, which is a great look for the Broncos.
Olsen rotates the ball to Bradshaw. Stopped on the drive. It's out. Weideman for three. Weideman connects. The senior from Omaha buries it from long range.
She is definitely a three-point threat whenever she has the ball.
Shooting 39.2% this season. Rachel Bowers getting more points. She's got 4 to tie the game for Boise State.
Nice assist right there by Dom, seeing that Rachel was able to have position on her player to get the open bucket.
Wyoming has lost 4 straight games at ExtraMile Arena, but did beat Boise State the last time the two teams matched up. Tommy Olsen's scoop layup is good. That loss for Boise State against Wyoming came in the semifinals of last year's Mountain West tournament. Bowers trying to make it 6 straight points, and she does.
Bowers has come in off the bench, and she has given this team a spark.
Broncos earlier in the season wanted Rachel Bowers to shoot more. She's getting all the opportunities right now. She's got 6 points on 3 of 3 shooting. She leads all scorers as a late whistle comes in. Bradshaw's going to the line. We're taking a break. It's 10-10 in Boise. We're tied 10-10 after 7 minutes of play. Rachel Bowers contributing 6 points for Boise State to tie the game after the Broncos fell behind early.
Rachel is coming off the bench and giving this team a spark. Shooting during the season at 50% from the field, she has come in and was 100% for this game.
Big part of why Boise State has got the score back to equal, but with McKinley Bradshaw at the line, that goes by the wayside. She makes the first free throw, and the junior from Lyman, Wyoming has another one coming. Last year, Bradshaw was the leading scorer for Wyoming, but she came off the bench in nearly every game. She had 11.7 points per game, but was the key contributor in terms of scoring for the Cowgirls team that made that late season run in the tournament. Things really clicked for them. Bradshaw playing a big part in that.
Cowgirls come out on this play and doing some full court pressure.
Boise State saw a ton of that in Las Vegas against UNLV last Thursday, in a game that they ended up falling in by a final score of 73-51. Grace Ellis off glass and in. She's going to the line, and the Australian gets an opportunity for an and one.
Yeah, Cowgirls there ran a great play with an easy look to the basket, and foul by the Broncos sends Cowgirls to the line.
Ellis was the savior for Wyoming in their most recent victory to get them back to 500 in the conference. 57-54 win at home against Air Force. Ellis scored the game-winning bucket with 27 seconds left. It was a tie game at 54-54 before she scored a layup off a Fertig assist.
Cowgirls are in a zone here for this possession, giving a different look than they've had all game.
Looks like a 2-3. Tommy Olsen flies in, did touch it. No backcourt against the Broncos, but just 3 on the shot clock. Lobrovich from deep hits the front of the rim, and Boise State will get to save it with narrow.
Broncos look to set something up here against the zone.
Trista Holes pass out of bounds, and you can see Boise State right there. It's a 2-3 zone from Wyoming. Where do you break it? At the high post, and that's what Boise State was trying to do.
It does, and Wyoming trying to get the Broncos a little flustered, knowing they started out in man, coming out with that zone, and got the turnover is what they wanted with that play.
And for teams against Boise State, one of the ways that you can exploit that 2-3 zone, yes, the high post is one of them, but also being able to hit from outside, be it the corner or the hash. Boise State has not been very successful from deep this season as Narrow scores quickly on the drive.
It's a nice push right there by Narrow, seeing the open lane to the basket and taking it all the way.
Wyoming by 3 here in the first quarter. Olsen moves it left. This is another freshman that gets a lot of minutes for Wyoming. Number 2, Emily Mellema. A couple of very important freshmen for the Cowgirls as Ellis fights her way through with that O-board. And there's a minute left in the first period. Melima, Furtig, the two that get the most minutes in terms of freshmen for the Cowgirls. Good strong board by Boise State's freshman, Trista Hull. Leonidas with options, but a good play from behind by Paula Salazar to hit it out of bounds.
Broncos look to set up a baseline out of bounds play here.
Leonidas rises off the inbound, back ironing out. And Furtig's got a foot on the line, however. Boise State will get lucky, and they will get another inbound opportunity.
They will. We'll see what the Broncos do here. As you can see on the line by the Cowgirls, Broncos ball.
Hull to Lalott. Post-to-post idea, but execution on the finish lacking for Boise State. Less than a full second difference between the game and the shot clock means that Wyoming can indeed dribble out this first quarter and hold for the last shot. It's Olsen trying to make something happen. There's a back cut, but it's not going to work out for Wyoming. 1 second for Leonidas. The heave is off the backboard and not close to the basket. It's a 3-point difference between Wyoming and Boise State heading to the second quarter. It's Wyoming 15, Boise State 12 as we begin quarter number 2. A look at Rachel Bowers, who leads all scorers with 6 points. It came in a stretch where she made 3 consecutive baskets for Boise State, but Wyoming has shut her down since then. And Heather, to begin this second quarter, it's still a 2-3 zone from Wyoming as Bowers exploits it.
Bowers is feeling it today. She's calling for the ball, and she is helping this post play for the Broncos against a great Wyoming team in the post.
And there is one very consistent factor for Boise State this season. When you look at the 5-11 record, in the 5 wins, there has been a player score 20 points or more in all of them. In the 11 losses, no one has touched 20 points for the Broncos. It's been something all season that has sort of plagued them. When they can't find one consistent score, those are the games they lose. Boise State hoping maybe Bowers will be that player here today. Thought about that mid-range right there.
Yeah, the Broncos definitely have been a team that has fed off many individuals throughout the season with those 20-point plays.
And you can look up and down the roster for different players who have them. Osley, Muse, Leonidas, Lalott. And for the Broncos, getting that scoring and having others pile in with it is something that impacts them in a big way. Of course, that's the whole point of the game. Score the basketball. Don't let the other team score. It's easy when you say it out loud. It's much harder when you actually try to do it.
It definitely is.
Boise State's now going to apply the full court pressure. Not often a look you see from the Broncos, but Trista Hull tips a pass and Leonidas will take it away. Fired out to the left corner for Nero, off target on the 3. Wyoming and Ellis take it the other way.
And that's exactly what the Broncos look to do when they put that full court pressure on, is to get the Cowgirls off their heels.
Ball goes out of bounds. Last touched by Boise State. Cowgirls get to keep it. Trista Hull will check out, and Elodie Lalott will come in.
Coach Presnell is transitioning all the post players to keep fresh legs in there, knowing that this is a team that we want to continue to push the ball in deep in the post.
Step back 3 on the way from Melima. Broncos and Leonidas with the rebound. Bowers, and right back to Leonidas. And there is that entry pass into the post. Some pick and roll leads to a free throw line jumper from Leonidas, and the Broncos are back on top.
Nice pick and roll right there by the Broncos with that easy mid-range jumper.
Boise State shooting 36% from the floor. They're 8 of 22 on their shot attempts. Ellis fouled underneath the hoop by Rachel Bowers, and she will take a trip to the line.
Yeah, Rachel Bowers needs to be careful. Although she wants to go for the block here, as you can see, we will need her in the game with her bringing that spark to the Broncos. If she can just stay straight up it's a lot to be able to give some contest to a shot instead of sending somebody directly to the free throw line.
Bowers, the senior from Newhall, California. Last year, played in 16 games, 10 starts. Had a foot injury in the middle part of the season last year that kept her out, but healthy this season and impacting Boise State. You mentioned earlier, Heather, that 51% from the floor. So important to have a post who can come off the bench and shoot with that type of efficiency as she sends the ball over the head of Lalott for a turnover.
I like where Rachel's head was at right there, looking at her post player, because LED did have position on the player, just unfortunately the ball was thrown a little too high and out of bounds.
The matchup to watch is on the far right side of your screen, Fertig versus Lalott. Down in the paint. Another outside jumper from Meluma, and another miss from the freshman. Narrow to Osley. That's a lot of space for a good shooter.
Broncos look to push there. Great three right there by Anna Osley.
Osley being left alone. She only hit one three-pointer in the loss to San Diego State. She's got one here in the first half now. Osley held down to just 9 points after she had 6 in the first half. And in the first quarter, matter of fact, at Viejas Arena down in San Diego. This is a travel against Alba Sanchez-Ramos, who left her feet and then came right back down.
That's like great ball pressure right there by Rachel Bowers, where she come out to contest the shot, which caused the Cowgirls to turn the ball over.
Sanchez-Ramos with the turnover. Boise State with the lead by 3. Just over 3 minutes gone by in quarter number 2. Osley trying to be too crafty with that bounce pass. A lot of bodies in the paint, and only one of them wearing orange.
Yeah, Anna looking right there to thread the needle. Unfortunately, not the best pass on that play for the Broncos.
Not the best pass by Quinn Weideman. Lalott jumped right in front of it. Took it away for Boise State. Broncos wearing their orange uniforms on the season. Boise State 3-0 when wearing this configuration, as Trista Hull is whistled for an over-the-back foul.
Nice crashing the boards right there by the Broncos. Unfortunately, Trista did not have position as she comes over the back of her defender, pushing her, which caused the offensive foul.
Freshman picks up her first foul. Wyoming with an opportunity to tie the game. If they can find a 3, they do look for one. Sanchez-Ramos off the mark. Fertig offensive rebound. Little hop step to the left block, and another foul against the Broncos. This will send Fertig to the line.
Definitely a game of post play as we see here. Elodie was down. Unfortunately, she swatted at that ball, which then caused the referee to call that a foul.
Allison Fertig shooting 2. A very decorated Wyoming high school career. 4-time All-State selection at Douglas High School. 3 state basketball championships for Douglas as well. And then also a 2-time in both 2020 and 2021 Wyoming Gatorade Player of the Year. So sticks in her home state with the University of Wyoming and provides a lot of well-deserved praise coming in as a freshman.
She does, and she'll take a seat on the bench for a minute to recoup and get some rest.
Osley off a screen, trying to find another 3 ball. Lalott, strong rebound, but again, the finish just eluding Elodie Lalott for another time.
Those are shots Elodie hits game in and game out. Unfortunately, just hit the back of the iron on that one.
And Lalott, who's shooting nearly 53% going into the San Diego State game, managed just 3 field goals in that contest. In fact, she went 3 of 10 from the floor. So far tonight, she's 1 of 6. It's not typical to see Elodie Lalott miss so many close layups, but it's been almost the norm over the last 2 games as Leonidas is stripped by Weideman. Outside Bradshaw, and that is drilled to put the Cowgirls back on top here in this seesaw affair.
You cannot leave Bradshaw open. She is a scorer for this team, and she's a three-point threat whenever she catches the ball.
Talked last year about how she had 11.7 points per game. She scored 11.4 off the bench. Jada Clark has it go in and out. A lid on the basket for Boise State whenever they've stepped inside the paint for some reason. Bradshaw in and fouled. She's going to take another trip to the free throw line when we return to Boise. Wyoming 21, Boise State 20. It's a one-point contest in Boise. The Broncos and the Cowgirls playing it tight. Boise State looking for their second conference victory here in Mountain West Play since it began back on December 28th, looking to get to 2-4. There's a look at the numbers between the two sides, and you can see neither of these teams known to shoot the ball from beyond the arc. They're much more of a get it down low and work the post, and that's what we've seen so far tonight, Heather.
This is definitely a post game. However, we have seen some shots from the three-point line, which have kept both teams in this game. But it is the game of who can get it done in the paint, and we'll see what happens for the rest of this first half.
Wyoming 2 of 8 on the outside. Boise State 1 of 5 on their three-point tries, and McKinley Bradshaw goes 2 for 2 at the free throw line. She has now made all 4 of her free throw attempts. She's got 7 points for Wyoming.
Cowgirls are applying that pressure that they did earlier in this first half.
That's the first missed shot of the game for Rachel Bowers. Started 4 for 4, now 4 of 5. But you saw Narrow patiently waiting for her to get open. Weideman hits back iron, and Jada Clark with the rebound. The 5'4" freshman soaring above everyone. Clark's pass knocked right down in front of her by Tommy Olson.
Broncos will look to send something up from the sideline.
Three guards in the game for Boise State, all of them who can handle the ball very well in Narrow, Clark, and Leonidas. Hull and Clark trying to combine, and it last touched by the Broncos. Not sure if Clark got a fingertip to it. Either way, it's out of bounds for a Bronco turnover.
A little bit of miscommunication there as Trista was coming towards Jada and just misunderstood which was happening by her teammate.
It's a 6-0 run for Wyoming here over the last 2.5 minutes. Ball nearly got loose. Another outside look, and another miss, courtesy of Sanchez Ramos. Not a lot of success from outside. Sanchez Ramos 0 for 2. Bradshaw's 1 for 1. And so far in the contest, she's the best three-point shooter for either side. Entry pass to Bowers. She was going to lose her footing, so good job to drop it back to Hull, who has it knocked away out of bounds. Boise State gets another opportunity to run that baseline out of bounds. They've had a lot of chances to perfect it here early.
They have. The Broncos have definitely had a lot of chances there. Rachel Bowers, again, hitting from the floor.
Bowers breaking into double digits in the first half. She's got 10 points, 5 of 6 shooting performance from the senior. And Boise State draws back within 1. Sanchez Ramos wants to move it. Wyoming just keeping it outside until Weideman scoops up the lefty layup and scores. That was a fine, crafty finish.
Wyoming is a team that looks to get you off your heels to find that direct drive to the basket, which they found on that last play.
Weideman was last year's Mountain West Tournament MVP, and Trista Hull with the and one.
Nice post move right there by Trista. She got the ball, drove middle, continued through the pressure, basket up and in, sending her to the free throw line for a three-point play.
Great finish from Trista Hull, who goes back to the free throw line for the second time tonight. She's 1 of 2 there already, and it rotates out on her. Boise State's been having some looks that have just gone up and down and then come out. Drive from Ellis. This one comes with ferocity Furtig now grabs the rebound. Bowers over the top of her, and it's an and one on the other end for Allison Furtig. Freshman and freshman going back and forth, trading and ones in the paint.
They were Coach Presnell not happy with this. His leading scorer catching another foul right there. Rachel needs to stand up straight because we need her in this ball game.
Second foul against Bowers. Bowers tied for 7th in the Mountain West in terms of blocks per game with her own teammate, Mary Kay Narrow. Both of them average 0.8 of a block per contest, and Bowers has to go to the bench. Boise State will now see where they can find the scoring from. It's been Bowers who's been the most successful, and with the 5 on the floor, now Boise State will look to see if someone else can turn it on. Leonidas gets right to the rim, hits the floor, and scores.
Nice direction right there by Leonidas, calling for that screen, which then led her to a basket right down the middle.
Broncos hanging right there with Wyoming at the moment. This second quarter winds down. Wyoming moving the ball rapidly, where it finally stops with Bradshaw. Miscommunication means Ellis has no one near, but she still can't hit. Leonidas stops, bounce pass. Lalott no, and Ellis the board.
Nice push by the Broncos. Again, another great look at the basket. Unfortunately, we're able to not connect.
Wyoming trying to push their lead on this possession. They've got an opportunity to try to go 2 for 1 with the way the clocks are lining up. Osley called for a foul. Jumped right into the back of Bradshaw, and that's going to get a whistle every time.
Have a lot of fouls being called today based on position where the defensive player is. As you see, Anna, if she just stayed low, she wouldn't have been able to get that foul called, as we've seen a lot of those fouls called in the post play today.
That foul puts Wyoming into the bonus. 5th foul against the Broncos in the quarter, and it's Bradshaw who's at the line. She continues her perfect streak now, 5 of 5. She was 6 of 9 at the line, coming off a 20-point performance against Air Force. In fact, she's had back-to-back 20-point games. She had 27 in the loss against New Mexico, 20 against Air Force. And here today, 6 of 6 to the line. She's got 9 points. Narrow trying to get that first 3-pointer to go down for her today. Broncos get a new shot clock, and it is 5 seconds the difference between the two. Boise State wants to kill some time, make sure Wyoming doesn't get another good look to end the half. Leonidas on the drive, ball is loose, and the Broncos keep it.
Nice drive right there by Dominique, directly to the basket. Now they'll set up for a baseline out of bounds play with 4 seconds on the clock, so not much time for the Broncos to get the ball in and get it to the basket.
Leonidas has to shoot over Olsen, rims out. And the ball being loose means Wyoming's really got to go fast if they want to try to score. The heave is blocked. Bradshaw couldn't get it up over a hole, but it is Wyoming who takes the lead into the locker room. A 3-point game. We've got stats and highlights when we come back. Back and forth so far in Boise. Wyoming leads the Broncos 30-26. Gave Wyoming an extra point somewhere. Still trying to figure out where that one came from. It was 29-26 going into break. They updated it to 30-26. So it's a 4-point lead for Wyoming instead of the 3-point lead that I claimed it would be. But Boise State finding some scoring here early on. Rachel Bowers with 10 points for the Broncos as you take a look at the halftime stats. And Heather, again, we talked about how neither of these teams really found success from deep throughout the season so far. That's showing in a big part today, and it means we'll likely see more post play in the second half.
It will, as you see here, very equal on both sides of the ball, with Wyoming and the Broncos shooting the same from the field goal. Obviously the three-point line, 18 and 17% respectively, but it's the free throws. The Cowgirls are getting to the free throw line more, shooting 12 for 14 from the stripe.
Yeah, Boise State 1 for 3 from the free throw line, not the 1 for 6 that you see there. They're 1 for 6 on their 3-point attempts, but either way, 1 for 3 from the free throw line is simply not going to cut it, especially when you're allowing your opponent to take 14 free throws in that first half.
It is. Both teams have gotten great looks on both ends of the basket in the paint where we knew this game would be. It'll come down to the second half of who can actually put the ball in the hole that will determine the outcome of this game.
And Boise State is going to have to do it from the floor, because one of the things about Wyoming, part of the reason why they have the best scoring defense in the Mountain West, is because they give up the least amount of fouls per game of anyone in the entire country. In the D1 ranks, Wyoming leads all teams at 11.7 fouls per game. That is it throughout the season. They give up under 12 fouls a game, which is incredible when you consider how good their defense is. They're only 6 and 7 on the year, as you can see, but that defense playing a big part in why they're 2-2 in the conference and pushing with the top dogs, while Boise State finds themselves in ninth.
It is, and defense wins games. You've got to stop them in order to score one more basket than them to win games. And Wyoming, if they continue to do that, because they have a great team that we've seen here, they will continue to be a runner in this season as they can get some of those games replayed that had to be rescheduled due to COVID protocols.
One of them coming next Wednesday when Boise State will be in Laramie. You see New Mexico still top dogs in the conference at 6-0. Nevada 3-0. They've had so much time off. They've won 10 out of their last 11 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak, but they have not played for now 2 weeks because of COVID postponements. Of course, Boise State was in Reno the day that the game got postponed. The Broncos were supposed to take on Nevada back on January 6th. That game got postponed, part of 2 in a row for the Broncos. It's something that you just have to deal with, you have to live with, and Boise State will make that game up eventually. That one still hasn't been announced, but New Mexico and Nevada leading the way, and a tough UNLV team that Boise State saw last week. Very good, led by Desiree Young, outstanding sophomore. It doesn't get easier for the Broncos, is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't, but if the Broncos can control and do the things that they can actually control, they can continue, as we've seen in years past, continue to be a factor when it comes down to the late part of the season. They might have not started conference the way they wanted to. However, if they can do the things that the coaching have told them that they can do, they can come out with some W's.
Boise State, the one victory came against Utah State in terms of conference play, hoping to get the second today. It's a 4-point difference between Wyoming and Boise State. Wyoming with 30, Boise State with 26 here at ExtraMile Arena. We'll step aside, come back with some highlights when we return. Keep it here. You're watching Bronco basketball on the Mountain West Network. Still halftime inside ExtraMile Arena. Boise State men played here yesterday. Now it's the Boise State women's turn. Bronco women here on Wednesday and Saturday taking on Wyoming and Colorado State. It'll be basically back-to-back games for the Broncos against teams that they've already seen. They saw Colorado State on December 28th. And then they play Wyoming today. They play Wyoming next Wednesday in Laramie. So a lot of moving parts here in this Mountain West schedule, seeing teams that you are very familiar with. And Boise State today has seen Rachel Bowers really come out to play for the Broncos in that first half. 10 points for Bowers, and doing it from everywhere, the mid-range and inside.
She has done it from all ends of the floor today. She has brought that spark that the Broncos needed. Coming in with those 10 points, she has done it, and she has been what that Bronco team has needed to stay in this ball game.
10 points all off the bench, just 8 minutes for Bowers, but does have the 2 fouls. Something to watch as we go on, as Bowers just continued to score. Again, she showed her ability to score at the basket. You saw the turnaround jumper right there, and able to knock it down from outside as well. On the other end, Allison Fertig, the freshman center, has been able to get good position down low, and that has led to her scoring 8 points in that first half and grabbing 4 rebounds.
It's a post players game today, and she has done it for the Wyoming Cowgirls. She has brought it from many different aspects, and she has caused some problems with the Broncos, with many of the post players getting fouls, and she will continue to do that, as that's what this Wyoming team looks for in her, is to bring that inside presence from her every game.
Trista Hull, Elodie Lalott, both with a foul for Boise State. Rachel Bowers with 2. Abby Muse also with 2. So there you go, Heather. You talk about the fouls that Fertig has been able to create. But really, it's been everyone for Wyoming who's gotten inside, they have caused a lot of trouble. We've seen Grace Ellis get down. She's leading Wyoming with 6 rebounds. She's gone to the free throw line twice already in this contest. And then McKinley Bradshaw, when she's been driving, she's 6 of 6 from the free throw line. But every time that she's gotten past her marker, a Bronco helper has come over and been almost forced to foul her.
They have. The Broncos need to continue to stay on the floor and not let the referees call those fouls, because we need the Broncos to not continue to send this Wyoming team to the free throw line where they are hitting, because it is a great team that will hit from the stripe.
We haven't seen much zone from Boise State all season long. Wyoming came out in a zone matchup. Heather, do you feel like maybe there could be a transition that we see in the second half from either team defensively?
I see both teams coming out and putting pressure because they've noticed it's happened in the first half, but both teams are run and push team, and we'll see what happens in the second half.
It will certainly be interesting. We've got still a little bit of time to go before that second half begins. Wyoming has just made their way back out onto the court. It's Wyoming 30, Boise State 26. We'll be back with second half action from ExtraMile Arena on the Mountain West Network when we return. Boise State hitting the floor once again. Wyoming still in their huddle. 5-11 Broncos against the 6-7 Cowgirls. Boise State 1-4 in Mountain West play. Wyoming 2-2. Broncos trying to continue their 4-game home winning streak that they have against Wyoming, including 2 victories a year ago. Beat Wyoming by 68-61 and 68-62 scores on January 11th and 13th of 2021 did the Broncos. But it's Wyoming who holds the 4-point lead beginning the second half of play. Bradshaw trying to get things started in a big way, and lightning right out of the locker room for McKinley Bradshaw. 3-point
threat right there by McKinley Bradshaw. She will hit that every time for the Cowgirls.
Her 14.3 points per game leads all Cowgirls, and she's got 12 already here this evening. Leonidas trying to create some space. Even with the step back, has to give it up. Lalott fights through. Osley goes to the floor. She ended up in a hard way and a hard fall down to the ground. Back to her feet. And the Broncos with the basketball, but only 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Broncos have got to get it in and get it quick.
Muse pulls it in and scores. Assist to Narrow. And a good play for Boise State off the inbound.
Great time and score play right there by the Broncos with that baseline out of bounds play, knowing they needed to get a look in quick basket, in which they did.
Bradshaw trying to score once more, this time at the rim, can't do it. Leonidas gets to her spot, but Osley on the cut. That's a great pass from Dominique Leonidas.
Great corner awareness right there by Dominique, knowing she had Anna coming down the lane. She got that defender to pull up. Assist bucket for Anna Osley.
Another baseline drive from the Cowgirls. This one is stopped. Olsen's got to put this up, lest she get a 3 in the key, misses it. Lalott the board, and the Broncos looking good on the defensive end out of the locker room to begin this second half. Now Narrow with the up and under. She's blocked, but Wyoming loses the handle and lets Boise State keep the basketball.
Broncos look here for another baseline out of bounds play of the second half.
Lalott being given tons of space. Narrow the same. Narrow has it toilet bowl out. Mary Kay Narrow's had a couple of really good looks. None of them have dropped from outside. Meanwhile, Bradshaw continues to pour it in from beyond the arc. Make it 3 for 3 on triple tries.
Bradshaw likes that one-step three-point shot. Obviously being open helps with no defender in her face.
Narrow, this a 2, and that one finally drops as Narrow buries the long-range double. Fertig posting up Lalott. Lalott swings the hand down, definitely affects the shot, but Olsen will keep it. Outside Weideman off left. And a wrestled rebound for Lalat. Really had to fight for that one. Narrow, great bounce pass. Leonidas with the flying finish. And Boise State's within 2.
Broncos are pushing the ball, as we were talking about. We didn't know what team would come out the second half, and the Broncos are looking to push that ball up the floor to try to get those easy open baskets, in which that one was, and a great assist by Mary Kay.
Boise State shooting 38% in the contest at the moment. Ellis outside. Drives on Muse. She's rejected. Osley scoops it up. Defense very strong for the Broncos, limiting Wyoming to a 2.5-minute scoring drought as Leonidas goes down. Wanted a foul call, didn't get it. Muse spins right, and Muse scores to tie the game.
Nice post move right there by Muse. She spun middle, she had her elbows up, defender couldn't do anything, and an easy 2-point basket.
Broncos picking up some steam as Bradshaw finally misses from distance. Narrow attacking, tried to force the pass. Lalat will come away with it, but her shot will be off yet again. Elodie Lalat really struggling from the floor in this one, but Boise State finding other ways to get the ball in the basket as Ellis gets fouled, and Muse with a look of disbelief plastered on her face.
It is, as you see here, it's all about position. See the little hands, not straight up. Referees are going to call that a foul every time.
Ellis just got inside, worked her way down below the basket, and that's what led to the Abby Muse foul. It's the sophomore from Brisbane, Australia, who will get to shoot 2. First one goes in for her. Last year, Ellis played in all 24 games off the bench during her first season with Wyoming. Her 2 free throws have now put Wyoming back in the lead. Narrow again gets to her spot. Leonidas will get a foul whistled against her. Knocked Olsen from behind.
Yeah, the Broncos are picking up fouls that they should not be getting, and it's all about position. Dominique, knowing she's behind that player, I like the hustle to the basket, but we need to stop with the fouls, which eventually will put the Cowgirls at the free throw line.
Muse on the bench with 3 fouls. Wyoming has not made a field goal in the last 3.5 minutes. Fertig has to kick you out. I think that Ellis, rather, who kicked it out. Here's a spin in by Bradshaw, and she gets turned aside. Boise State very good defensively in the paint at the moment. Leonidas trying a dump pass, but Trista Hull was not in the same spot that the ball was going to.
I think the ball was tipped a little bit by the Cowgirls, not allowing Dominique to get that to Trista.
Weideman enters, Ellis stands strong, and Bowers swats it. Weideman for 3 though, straight away, and that'll be an assist for Olsen, who basically knocked the rebound right into the hands of Quinn Weideman, and the senior strokes it from outside. Narrow little floater from the baseline, no dice. Wyoming opening up a 5-point lead, even though they have been struggling from the floor recently. Bradshaw off the screen, pops it right back to Olsen. Outside shot, Salazar. Offensive rebound, Bradshaw, and tries to chase the next one as well. Can't do it. As Osley slings the ball to Leonidas. Now Leonidas goes in, gets fouled. And 2 free throws coming up for Boise State's senior transfer. 41-36. Boise State will be at the free throw line when we come back. Boise State behind by 5. Abby Muse playing a big part here today, but also across the whole season Muse has been one of the most consistent scorers, has been the team's best rebounder over the course of the year, and she's showing that all here today.
She is. Abby is a staple of this team. As we talked about earlier in this broadcast, before the game started, she was averaging 10 points and seven boards a game, definitely doing it for the Broncos. Obviously getting a rest here. Lots of post play happening today as we got Dominique at the free throw line.
Muse, such a cool story. Actually born in Portugal, in Lisbon, matter of fact. Both of her parents played professional basketball overseas, and when her time to be delivered was, her dad was playing professionally in Portugal, and so Muse was born in Lisbon, lived there for a couple of years before moving to California. Brentwood is her hometown, but basketball certainly runs in the family, and Muse the next line of very good basketball players out of that family. Grace Ellis again on the low block. She gets doubled. Salazar cannot hit from outside. Been the story of the evening for Wyoming. They're now 5 of 18 on their three-point attempts, but they still keep putting them up. Tries to hold his foot on the line, too. Is off into the hands of Olsen. Melima stolen. Cookies taken by Leonidas, who's running the fast break, and she is fouled on the run out.
Both teams are pushing the ball in transition, trying to find that open basket as it's been back and forth. As we see here, the Broncos got a turnover, foul there as Dominique tried to head to the basket for a bucket.
Holt to Bowers, great ball movement as Osley again darts inside. And Anna Osley, who's known for being a three-point shooter, has been showing proficiency at the rim tonight.
She has, and Rachel Bowers having great court awareness there, knowing she's off kilter, seeing Anna go to the basket for the assist.
Osley 4 of 5 from the floor. Paula Salazar scores. That's her first points of the night. Hole's pass tipped out of bounds. The assist for Bowers, her first stat outside of scoring. She's been scoring so much. Boise State hasn't seen her contribute anything else in terms of the stat sheet, but finally gets that assist. Hole, no foul, no call, but a turnover now for the Broncos. Weideman stops up, pops, and Bowers brings it in. Narrow trying to fly down the court. Broncos thought about running in transition. Instead, they'll slow it down. Osley, good feed to Bowers. Nice two-man game. And last touched by Leonidas. Narrow tried to chase it out of bounds, but couldn't get there in time for the Broncos. Narrow again getting a ton of minutes and filling up the stat sheet as she does. She's played 26 minutes so far, averaging 34.2 on the year. That's fourth in the entire conference. She's got 4 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Sharing the ball, bringing in misses, and also adding a little bit of scoring.
Broncos come out with that full court pressure, as we talked about we would see probably from both teams.
Jada Clark really had to fight through some screens there, and by the time she got to Weideman, she was so off balance that the guard was able to blow right past her. Good bucket for Weideman, and it extends the Cowgirl lead to 6. Narrow from the corner, drills it.
Nice drive by Anna Osley to make that defender jump a little, which leaves the open basket for Mary Kay.
Just the second three-pointer of the night for Boise State on 8 attempts. Less than a minute to go in the third. Weideman gets the basketball, but Osley's going to get called for a foul. Pushed Melima, the screener, to the floor.
As we see here, run through the screen. Nice way for Anna to continue to fight through those screens, but you got to be careful so you don't get called for an or before a defensive foul.
Wyoming looking for an inbound. Weideman taking her time. Did get it out before the 5 seconds were up. Olsen's drive, always looking to distribute is Tommy Olsen. Bradshaw, turnaround Jay at the free throw line.
Bradshaw can hit from anywhere on the floor.
Bradshaw looking to make it 3 straight 20-point games. She's got 17 now. 27 against New Mexico, 20 against Air Force, and 17 tonight against the Broncos. Big part of the reason why Wyoming holds this 5-point lead. Lindsay Lavrovich falling away, and it is an air ball from Lavrovich, another freshman who's getting minutes for Boise State. She's actually coming off her best game as a Bronco as Wyoming pushes the tempo. 5 seconds in the third. Dump to Fertig, goes up, gets fouled with 1 minute and 6/10, or make it a second and 6/10 on the clock.
Cowgirls try for that isolation play. They want to expose the post. Either they're going to get the 2-point basket or they're going to get sent to the free throw line, in which they did on this play by the Cowgirls.
Fertig misses the first free throw. Boise State hoping she misses the second. Muse and Lalott, you can see, ready to box out. Should that be the case, but it is a swish. And Boise State will just inbound to Osley to run out the quarter. Broncos will go into the fourth behind by 6. They're looking for their second conference victory on the season. Going into the fourth quarter, it's Wyoming 48, Boise State 42. A huge difference in this contest so far. The free throws, Boise State just 2 of 5 from the free throw line. They've barely got there, and when they have, they haven't converted. Wyoming 15 of 18 at the stripe.
Yeah, Wyoming has been able to get the fouls, which has sent them to the free throw line. Broncos have had great looks at the basket. Unfortunately, they just haven't had any that were able to go in.
Elodie Lalott 1 of 9 on the inside. Mary Kay Narrow 3 of 10. She's shooting here. Lalott not boxed out and gets fouled. It's another trip to the free throw line for Boise State. They don't come often, and Lalott's going to have to make sure that this one counts.
Yeah, Lalott right here with that second chance points. She had to look, unfortunately a little short. Let's see if she can hit some from the stripe.
Lalott so far tonight with just 2 points and 5 rebounds. And she swishes the first free throw. On the season, Lalott just a 35% free throw shooter. But she makes them both here, and that's huge for Boise State.
And the Broncos bring that full court pressure.
2-possession game for the moment. Muse at the moment guarding Bradshaw. That might be something that Wyoming looks to exploit, specifically around the perimeter. And they do. They go right to Bradshaw, but her shot is off. Olsen can't steal it away from Lalott. Another rebound for the woman from Paris, France, as Leonidas carves her way up the baseline. Muse to Leonidas, 3 ball on the way. Off left side, another big rebound for Elodie Lalott, and a huge bucket for the Broncos yet again.
Nice consistent look right there by Elodie, getting that ball in the basket.
Bradshaw comes right down on the other end. Credit Tommy Olsen for having her head up, looking down the court. She found the small forward. Four-point game. Lalott fouled in the back with the push from Fertig.
All about position here again. Elodie had her. That push on that top obviously cannot be done. Hence 3's in the foul, which sends Fertig to the bench for a little bit.
That's the third foul against Fertig. Broncos inbound. Boise State 20 of 53 from the floor. Wyoming just 15 of 44. But again, those free throws making the difference at the moment. 15 points at the charity stripe. Narrow thought about a three-pointer. Rocketed in to Muse, who turns left and misses strong off the glass.
Broncos want to continue to push down into the paint with Fertig on the bench.
Sanchez Ramos thinks the better of shooting, and now Leonidas. Fast break bucket for Boise State. It's a 2-point game.
Nice push right there. Reading the ball. Dominique saw that she could steal that ball and 2 points in transition.
And on the season, this has been where Boise State has struggled the most. They're going to have to lock in if they want to come away with a victory in this one. The Broncos have seen close games just go away from them. Lalat fouls Ellis on the left block, and it's more free throws for the Cowgirls.
As we've talked about, Elodie is in position to be a threat on that play. She just, that little swat by the hand is going to be called every time.
Ellis back at the free throw line. First one goes down. From Brisbane, Australia, 10 points in 17 minutes against Air Force, 85.7% free throw shooter, and she drops them both. She, like Bradshaw, is 6 for 6 from the line, make it now 7 of 7 after the last make. She's got 9 points. Bradshaw 1 point away from her third straight 20-point outing. Impressive from the Cowgirls guard, and an impressive finish from Mary Kay Narrow with the spin layup.
Mary Kay saw the opening as the ball was being moved, but she was able to kiss that off the glass.
A touch off the window gets the Broncos back within 2 yet again. Sanchez Ramos, a pump fake, even though she hasn't hit a three-pointer today. And there's Bradshaw converting once more, make it 3 straight 20-point games for the junior. She's been on a rampage recently in the Mountain West Conference. Leonidas knocks it down with the hand in the face.
Nice shot right there by Dominique, putting that ball in the bucket.
Boise State getting big baskets here recently. Bradshaw, another drive, stolen by the Broncos and Leonidas.
That play started with Dominique and will finish with Dominique as she will get that foul and she'll head to the free throw line for 2.
Boise State's best free throw shooter with a chance to tie the game at 54. Leonidas got the steal and then the hesitation with the half spin, giving her all the space she needed. Wyoming certainly thought she was going to pass it. She did not. Leonidas with 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. And her second made free throw now of the game. Gordy Presnell chuckling on the bench along with his entire coaching staff. Bronco SID Craig Lawson must have said something really funny. All this happening while Leonidas sits poised at the line. And ice in her veins ties it up here in the fourth.
Broncos are set up right now in a full court press, trying to get this crowd into it, bringing it in for that last 6 minutes of this game.
Wyoming dealing with the full court danger. Outside Weideman, she's left with too much space. She can't hit it, but Olsen scoops up the loose board. That's her 5th rebound. The 5'6" senior is finding ways to contribute on the glass, even though she's got just 2 points today. Ellis, 3-ball, no good. It's a struggle for her. 1 of 8 from the floor. Leonidas in attack mode. Broncos moving the basketball quickly. Hull scores, and Boise State has a lead yet again.
Nice ball movement right there by the Broncos with Trista driving it to the basket, as we like to see from post players where they're versatile from all over the floor.
Broncos on a 6-0 run. They haven't led since the first half until the most recent made bucket. Ellis goes to work, and Ellis scores. She breaks into double digits.
Ellis saw that nice middle drive there with no other defender where she was able to get the basket on the other side.
Bowers up and in.
Nice spin move baseline right there by Rachel. She is feeling it today, kissing that one off the glass.
Bowers with 12, Leonidas with 13. Those two lead the Broncos, and the Broncos lead by 2. Narrow knocks the entry pass away, and Boise State defensively holding strong. They're up by a pair in the 4th. Boise State coming alive in the 4th. They're outscoring Wyoming 16-8 in the quarter, and they've made all 5 of their last 5 shots.
The Broncos have had some great steals, which then have led to transition baskets, which have put them up by 2 in this point in the 4th quarter.
At 58-56, it's a far cry from the last time these two teams met, as Bradshaw nearly cans another 3, but Ellis with the offensive rebound means Weideman can now try to hit it from outside, and she can't do it either. 2 really good looks for Wyoming, neither drop. When Boise State played Wyoming in the Mountain West Tournament semifinals a year ago, it was a 53-38 victory for the Cowgirls. And in fact, that's the first time in Boise State history under Gordy Presnell that they've been held under 40 points in a game. It still stands as the only time as Trista Hull gets the and one and gets the Bronco bench rocking.
The Bronco bench is rocking, and the fans here so excited for Trista, as you see here, getting that O board, pushing through, jumping up, getting able to hopefully get this 3-point play.
Huge basket for Trista Hull, who's getting a talking to from Bob Schofield, one of the umpires. Meanwhile, Leonidas gets examined by Mary Grace Testa, Bronco trainer. Looks like a plug in the nose for Leonidas. And you can see on the jersey exactly why. Hull with a big free throw for Boise State and a huge conversion. Makes it 61-56.
Broncos bring the pressure to keep the intensity up.
Bradshaw waiting for something to get started. Fertig, right block, Lalott gets the foul. The bucket doesn't count, or it doesn't go in, rather. It's a foul against Elodie Lalott, though, which is her 4th, and that is massive implications for the final 3.5 minutes.
It is. That was better position right there by Elodie. Unfortunately, this is the game of posts, and that contact there, the referees did not like, hence the reason she is sent to the free throw line.
Abby Muse currently sitting on the bench for Boise State with 3 fouls. There's a look at Muse, and Leonidas goes back over to the sideline. More attention needed, according to the referees. They want to try to clean that jersey up. It's got a big stain on the top left side. That's what Mary Grace is trying to scrub out. Broncos will take a timeout. There's a jersey that they're going to give to Leonidas. That's happening off your screen. We'll take a break here in Boise. Boise State holding the advantage as we get into crunch time. A look at the numbers for the Broncos win at ExtraMile Arena versus on the road. Boise State still doesn't have a road conference win. They're 0-3 on the road in conference play. And you see 1-8 on the season. Those numbers tell the story.
As you hear many times, if you can steal one on the road, it's a great win to steal on the road. Many teams are better when they play at home, hence the reason what's happening with the Broncos. Broncos do look to find one on the road when they go back next week starting at Wyoming.
Boise State's 3 conference losses on the road at Colorado State, 81-77, and then the 2 last week, 73-51 at UNLV, 80-63 at San Diego State. That was the Asia Avenger game where she scored a career high, just lit up Boise State. Went into the 4th quarter 9 of 9 on field goal attempts. The Broncos could do nothing to stop her. Everything they tried was unsuccessful. Avenger was just feeling it, and Lalott starting to find her rhythm here in the 4th. It's big for the Broncos. She's up to 8 points and 7 rebounds.
It's a great post play right there by Elodie. She went to set up that screen and then called for the ball down low, spun, hit the ball off the glass.
Boise State has not won a game when trailing at halftime in 14 straight tries. In fact, their last game where they trailed at halftime and came back to one pre-pandemic, February 22nd at New Mexico in 2020 as they force a shot clock violation. And Boise State, a team that has struggled down the stretch being young this season, seems to be coming more and more into their own here in this quarter right now.
Broncos got 2.5 minutes to keep the lead to get this W at home.
Wyoming trying to get back to 500 on the season with a victory. Boise State trying to inch closer towards getting to 500. And this ball will go out of bounds off the Broncos. It'll be a Boise State turnover. And it gives Wyoming a chance to try to claw into what is at the moment a 5-point deficit.
It is. The Broncos need to get a stop here from the Cowgirls.
Weideman taking a lot of time off that shot clock by dribbling around. It's under 10 seconds for Bradshaw. Bradshaw is fouled. And it's 2 shots. A blocking foul is called.
Coach Presnell is distraught, unsure about what the call is. Any foul from here moving forward is sending the Cowgirls to the free throw line.
Bradshaw, who is 6 of 6 from the stripe, misses her first at a time where Wyoming can ill afford anything to go wrong for them. Bradshaw does make the second, so make her 7 of 8 at the free throw line, now with 22 points. But all of it may come in a losing effort if Wyoming can't get a couple of stops on the defensive end here in the final 2 minutes. Lalott scores again. Elodie Lalott taking over in the 4th quarter, and it's been big for the Broncos.
Nice look inside by the Broncos. Looking back to Elodie, knowing she wants the ball, calling for it with that little hook that she does, basket in.
Lalott up to 10 points on the day. Turnover, Weideman forcing a pass that was never there. And now the Broncos will try to slow it down if they can. Gordy Presnell, you can see him gesturing at his team to just calm down.
Time and score. Time and score is what Gordy's talking about right now. We don't need to run. We've got a minute left, as you see here. Great pullback right there by Dominique. Cowgirls got a handle on that ball. Gordy, you see him. Time and score. Time and score. Slow down.
Narrows at the free throw line for the Broncos. First one is a make. Pushes the lead to 66-59. Now an 8-point game.
Broncos need to come out and put some pressure on the Cowgirls, but do not foul. They need to not foul.
Wyoming's going to have to start getting some three-pointers to drop. Olsen to the ground. Leonidas dives over her back. Nothing is called. The ball is still loose. And a foul against who is the question. There is a foul. 14 orange means Anna Osley. Took a while for that one to get called, but there was definitely a foul. The only question was who was it on. There were so many bodies involved.
There were both teams getting on the floor, getting that loose ball. They know this game is close.
could come down to the hustle plays here over the last 50 seconds. From the right block, Ellis no good. Osley the rebound, trapped, and gets it away to Narrow, who's blocked off by Ellis, and another whistle goes. Boise State in the bonus. Narrow will shoot two, and you see the excitement from the young Bronco players.
This is where the Broncos need to take this, and they need to put this win away and hit these two shots from the stripe.
If Boise State does hold it, it'll certainly feel like one of their best wins on the season. Come into the fourth trailing the way they did, and to turn things around and really take control away from an experienced and older Cowgirl team might be the step in the right direction. Boise State needs to get the second half of conference play going in the right direction. 10 points to lead. Largest lead of the night for Boise State, and another steal. The Broncos trying to run some more time off the clock as Narrow escapes the grasp of one, fouled by Ellis. And it's all but over at Extra Mile Arena. Narrow trying to ice the game with some more free throws.
As you can see the excitement in the Broncos, they know that they came in from halftime and they brought a different energy at half, which they came out with, putting those baskets into play, that 6-point stretch, and finishing this one out. Mary Kay missed that last one. Unfortunately, she'll have another look at it from the stripe.
The best defensive team in the Mountain West, Wyoming, has given up 70 points to the Broncos, team that averages on the year just 62 points per game. Weideman in, the ball is loose, and the Broncos will take it again. Another turnover, the 16th against Wyoming of the day. The Broncos 7-0 run over the final minute and 20 seconds here is going to be more than enough to put this one away.
It is. The Broncos are meshing right now. You can see them vibing on the energy. They know where each other is playing. This is a great way for them to end this game when at first the Broncos hadn't led since the first quarter.
Broncos have forced 3 turnovers in the last minute and a half, and down the stretch when it's mattered most, Boise State on the cusp of holding Wyoming to no field goals over the last 5 minutes of the ball game, which is certainly a number that the Broncos and head coach Gordy Presnell will look back on and be very proud of.
It is. The defense of the Broncos in this fourth quarter has been phenomenal in regards to not allowing the Cowgirls to be on the board.
Boise State has hit 8 of their last 10 shots as well, an exceptional way to close out the contest. Now Wyoming will not foul. Boise State will pick up their second conference victory on the season. They'll improve to 6-11, 2-4 in the Mountain West. While Wyoming can't get back to 500, they fall to 6-8, 2-3 in Mountain West play. And Boise State now will hope to see some losses from either Colorado State or Air Force. Colorado State is at Utah State. Air Force is hosting Fresno State. A loss from either of those two puts Boise State up into a tie for at least 8th place. If both of them lose, the Broncos instantly vault into a tie for 7th. So a lot of good news for Boise State, but a big victory here today over a very strong Wyoming team.
It is a huge victory for the Broncos, and what we talked about earlier in the broadcast is controlling what they can control, and the Broncos did that when they came out for the second half. They played defense. They drove to the basket. They were able to connect on things that they had control of, and the Broncos were able to come out with that W.
And you can see just from the scenes over on the bench, all the reactions that were coming from the court, how much this victory means for Boise State, how important it is for them. And for these Broncos to get this victory here at home, it means so much. We're going to talk to Rachel Bowers about the victory here tonight. Rachel, season high 12 points for you. You got started really fast there in the first quarter. What were you able to do out there on the floor to take advantage of what the defense was giving you?
It wasn't all me. Like my teammates give me some real good passes. Like Trista, whenever she gets a pass or whenever I had a pass from her, I love her passes. So it's definitely all on my teammates. Like they make great passes.
Talk about what it was like going into halftime, knowing you guys were down by 4. What did you guys talk about that then came out with that new energy in the second half?
Well, we have a history of not being so great in the third quarter, so that was a big emphasis Coach P was making. So we just wanted to come out with all the energy that we could have, both bench and on the court, and just not have a bad third quarter.
It certainly seemed like you had a lot of energy, and now you're going into a game against Colorado State team here at home on Saturday. You played them so close in Fort Collins. It came down to really the last minute, something you were able to put away today. How do you carry the energy over, stay happy, stay excited going into that rematch?
We'll go into that game with a chip on our shoulder just because it was so close last time, and we will be home. But we've had a lot of team meetings this past week since last weekend, and we're ready to go.
Well, Rachel, we appreciate the time. Thank you very much for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
congrats on the game.
Thank you.
Congrats, Rachel.
Thank you.
12 points for Rachel Bauer, 6 of 8 shooting. Boise State win it in all the metrics in the fourth. A 28-11 quarter for the Broncos, capped off by that 7-0 run. Didn't allow Wyoming a field goal over the last 5 minutes and 8 seconds. That's how you make a statement, and a statement victory today for Boise State.
It is. The Broncos brought it late, and they brought it when they needed it. Team effort. Rachel did come off the bench, was a spark, but many players throughout the team brought it. As you can see near the end, the Broncos knew this was a great team victory, and they are ready to compete again on Saturday.
It'll be a rematch. You just heard about it during the interview with Rachel Bowers. 81-77 was the final score. Last time Boise State played Colorado State on December 28th. The Rams are at ExtraMile on Saturday. For Heather Berry, my analyst, and the rest of our crew at the Mountain West Network, I'm Leonard Berry, saying thank you very much for tuning in. Our final score from Boise, the Broncos 70, the Cowgirls 59.